Is one of the architectural capitals of the world. The reason I say that, reason number one, look around us right now. Now, it's hot, but y'all picked a beautiful day to take a tour of Chicago. And for those of you who do not live in Chicago, this is what the weather is like all the time, all year round. Doesn't change from this. Now, if you do live in Chicago, keep your mouth shut. They don't need to know. It's supposed to be a nice week. But I say, rain or shine, gloom or doom, even during January, or some days during that month, it is medically inadvisable to be outside. Not an exaggeration. I think every day is a beautiful day in this city, thanks to all of our lovely architecture. Now, I keep saying cheesy stuff like that all day long. I'm going to start pointing at the buildings now. Now, the first building I'm talking about, it's almost directly in front of the boat. It's this white granite-clad building, and it's the Wrigley Building. Now, design for the Wrigley Building was started in 1919 by Graham Anderson, folks in white, and the building was finished in 1921. The architectural style on the building is called French Beaux-Arts. French Beaux-Arts style buildings are always going to have three things on them. They're always going to have an ornately decorated bottom, a stack of plain-looking flooring, and then an ornately decorated top. That is the French Beaux-Arts architectural style. Now, the Wrigley Building, it was originally built for the Wrigley Chewing Gum Corporation. I have a fun fact and then a question for you guys about Wrigley Chewing Gum. They did not originally sell gum. Does anybody know what Wrigley originally sold? If you do, yell it out. Guesses are fine too. Toss them out. Soap and baking soda, other chemical dry goods like that, like laundry detergent. But those soap products were not selling well at all for Wrigley. So as a promotion, they started adding 2 samples of gum to the packs of soap. People liked the taste of the gum sample so much, they started buying the whole pack of soap for the sample of gum and throwing all the soap in the trash, so Wrigley rebranded into a chewing gum company. That is the first skyscraper built on the north side of Michigan Avenue in Chicago, and it was the first building in Chicago to get air conditioning and electricity at the time. It was called the Home Insurance Building. It was built in the 1870s, and it stood at a whopping, you ready for this? Try not to freak out. 10 stories tall. That is compared to our tallest building now, the Willis/Sears Tower. That stands at 110 stories. We've grown up quite a lot since then. Now, coming back to Wrigley, the one in front of us. If you look closely at the building, you're going to see it's covered in a bunch of white tiles. There are over 300,000 white glazed terracotta tiles on the outside of the Wrigley Building. And you'll see a lot of terracotta in early 1900s. Soared significantly last year. If you're at the front few rows at the side, start yelling out guesses. 25,000? 30,000? 43? 40? 45? It's less than 50. 34? It's less than 50. 35.
Less than 50.
34. Dirty Price is right, Blair. Anybody else?
720.
49. 49,999 cents. Gotcha.
35.
45. The stakes are so low, y'all. For months, it was 6-7. 6-7. You are not allowed to say 6-7. I'll kick you off this book. Anybody else?
49.
What did you say? 41. 49. 49,999. 46. 20. If you're in the back, scream at me. 40? 38? Or 34? 44? 27? 47? Anybody else? 32. I can hear it. Good job. Anybody else? 250 just dollars? Oh, it's less than 50,000. Anybody else? 29? 30? Okay. I have a winner, I think. Who said 23,000? Somebody did. Somebody said, no. What'd you say? You just gave taking credit. I know, it was you. You said 20,000. Everybody else went over, I think. It's $24,000 a month. You win that apartment, yeah, I gotta pay that rent though. But yeah, it's 24,000, 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. Go get a few roommates, split that rent up. Now, if I were to live up there personally, I would need to get like 26 roommates. And now, you might recall I said I would talk about 43 of the 45 minutes. I'm gonna stop talking right now for 2 minutes as we're turning around here. Give you all a chance to take a few photos. Just kidding. It's the skyline behind you, not me. But yeah, quick reminder, make sure during World War II, Ray was used as a naval aviation training facility. The youngest graduate of that facility was 19 years old, and his name was George Herbert Walker Bush. H.W. Bush Sr., former president, youngest graduate at 19. Sat empty for a little bit after the war, was used as the branch of the University of Illinois for a while, and then in the 90s, it underwent a $250 million restoration, turning it into the massive tourist attraction we know and love it for today. There is a ton of stuff to do at the Navy Pier nowadays. I will say it's free to go to the Navy Pier. It is not free to do anything else at the Navy Pier. Now, he designed the
it looks good.
Walt Disney Amphitheater in Los Angeles. If you're looking for something to do, you don't have to spend a lot of money, look up the programming at the Pritzker Pavilion. It is all free. It's all during the summertime. They do movies. They do orchestra stuff. They do concerts. It's really great. I'm kicking myself. I was not here last week, and last week they did a Rob Reiner tribute. They showed When Harry Met Sally and Mrs. Flannel Tap as a double feature. I think the next movie they're showing, somebody correct me on this if I'm wrong, is Sinners. They tend to do the Oscar winners from the previous year. So yeah, I think Sinners might be the next one. Now, also inside of Millennium Park is the Art Institute. Now, it's almost odd to call this place a business, but if I were to recommend one business in Chicago, it's going to be the Art Institute of Chicago. Even if this is your take, I don't like art museums. You need to go. It's going to change your mind about art museums. They have stuff like Pablo Picasso, Frida Kahlo, Salvador Dali, Georgia O'Keeffe, Claude Monet. They have a program in that building. The Jerry Springer Show was filmed there from 1994 to 2009. If you don't know anything at all about the Jerry Springer Show, don't Google it. That's another thing in Chicago we're very proud of, right? Ding ding. Rest in peace, Jerry Springer. Yes, a while ago. On the right, you're going to see a flat roof building that is entirely made of glass and surrounded by trees. Now this, we're going to pass right by it, is the Apple Store, designed by Lord Norman Foster in 2018. If you're thinking Lord Norman Foster, that's an intense name. He's a very famous British architect. He is so famous and so British. Last year, his name was Sir Norman Foster. This year, it's Lord Norman Foster. He was a knight, now he's a lord. If you're like, what does that mean? He got a lordship, it means he got political power. But we're passing the Apple Store here, right next to us. And you'll notice the entire thing is made of giant rectangular panes of glass. Here's a terrible fun fact. Each one of those panes of glass individually cost $1 million.
Wow.
That's a hard one that I didn't believe when I first learned it, but this job is very cool. Somebody who works for the German glass company that manufactures the glass took my 90-minute tour. I got to confirm it's $1 million piece, and he also said why. It is particularly transparent, it insulates, and it's very strong. Those are all the reasons he gave me. All this to tell you guys, during the construction of the Apple Store, they shattered 2 of the $1 million panes of glass. Yeah, you gotta think about it. It's Apple. Of course you're gonna crack the glass and spend a whole bunch of money to replace it, even on the building. Let's talk about the second tallest building in Chicago. It's right in front of us. Guess the name of it. Just kidding. This is the Trump International Hotel and Tower, designed by Adrian Smith in 2009. Adrian Smith, world famous architect, Chicago local, but he's world famous not for designing this building. He is more world famous for designing the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Raise a hand. Who here's heard of that one? Burj Khalifa? Yeah, world's tallest building. Let's put the height of that one into perspective. Look to the top of Trump Tower. Add another one on top of it. That is how tall the Burj Khalifa is. This building is 1,388 feet tall. Burj Khalifa, 2,717 feet tall. On the right. This black box building is the American Medical Association building, and it was originally built for IBM in 1969, but this is an architectural landmark because it's the last office building designed by Ludwig Mies van der Rohe. Ludwig Mies van der Rohe revolutionized the entire world of architecture in the 1940s with this one phrase, less is more. He got rid of all the unnecessary fancy ornamentation on buildings. Let me put his work into perspective. Look at this black box building right next to us. Not much to say about it physically, right? Before Ludwig Mies van der Rohe was an architect, no building in the world looked like that building. That might be an odd thing to hear, because if you've been to any modern city, every building in the world looks like that building. It's a plain rectangular steel box. That is called the International Style of Architecture, and it basically sparked the modernist movement of architecture. Huge part of Ludwig Mies van der Rohe's career is he was a professor who taught a lot of architects the whole less is more philosophy. I'm pretty sure one of his students disagreed with it because that guy's name was Bertrand Goldberg. He designed These two right next to us. The Corn Cobs, as they're better well known in Chicago for obvious reasons. The actual name of the buildings is Marina City Towers, built in 1963 by Bertrand Goldberg in an effort to attract middle-class workers downtown to live, because folks, back in the day, nobody wanted to live in downtown Chicago. Most people just worked down here. So Bertrand designed those two buildings like a city inside of a city. On the inside, there was a roller rink, a grocery store, a doctor's office, a movie theater, a bowling alley, any accommodation you could need or want to live downtown. The most common questions I get about, I would not eat a single one of those fish. The Chicago River was very, 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 very dirty. Now the river is very dirty. Don't eat the fish. But they do say, thanks to environmental efforts, we should be able to regularly swim in the river by 2030. Woo, 3.5 years. I'm gonna give it a few more decades, maybe by like the 2060s, I'll dip a toe or something, I don't know. Now, I will say this. Last year, 500 people, publicly sanctioned, jumped into this river. Now, this building is a great example of the postmodern style of architecture, very popular.